This is Nightline, and I'm Liyana Hassanel. The top stories. PM to explain Sabah's 40% revenue entitlement in Parliament on Thursday. And Pakistan Taliban claim responsibility for deadly attack in Islamabad. Good morning. We begin the bulletin with this story. The Pakistan Taliban, or TTP, has claimed responsibility for a deadly blast in Islamabad that killed at least 12 people. The explosion, which was confirmed as a suicide attack by several government ministers, occurred outside district court buildings in the capital on Tuesday. According to a TTP spokesman, the attack targeted judges, lawyers and officials accused of not enforcing Sharia law. The TTP's claim is viewed as further straining already tense relations between Afghanistan and Pakistan. This follows repeated Pakistani government accusations that Kabul is providing shelter to the TTP, despite denials from Afghan authorities. Earlier, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif accused India of orchestrating the brazen attack, a claim strongly denied by India's External Affairs Ministry. India and Pakistan have meanwhile launched investigations into the blasts in New Delhi and Islamabad. Back home, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim will give a detailed explanation in the Dewan Rakyat on Thursday on the 40% special revenue entitlement for Sabah. He said the decision followed a special cabinet meeting on Tuesday, which had unanimously agreed not to appeal the Kota Kinabalu High Court's ruling on the matter. Speaking at the Prime Minister's Department's monthly assembly in Putrajaya on Wednesday, Anwar said the meeting, which lasted over 2 hours, considered views and proposals from all cabinet members.
Di antara yang paling terakhir itu Azalina lah. Dan maka kita memutuskan secara konsensus, muafakat tentang apa yang kita putuskan, dan soal 40% yang kita ikut 112 CD dan juga pertimbangan tentang keputusan kita juga, yang itu tidak kita rayu, tetapi keputusan penghakiman akan kita rayu dan akan saya jelaskan di Parlimen esok secara lebih terperinci.
Prior to this, the Attorney General's chambers announced that the federal government would immediately begin negotiations with the Sabah government following the court's decision. Attorney General Tan Sri Muhammad Dusuki Mokhtar also gave his advice and perspectives to the cabinet on certain flaws identified in the judgment. Among these were allegations that both the federal and Sabah governments had abused their powers and breached their constitutional duties, with implications reaching as far back as 1974. According to the judgment, any review conducted after 2021 would be unlawful, irrational, procedurally flawed, and disproportionate. Consequently, the federal government's appeal will refer to the flaws in the grounds of judgment. At a separate event, the Prime Minister reminded civil servants to always strive to improve themselves and enhance the quality of their service, while cautioning them against becoming complacent and content with existing achievements. According to Anwar, the nation's success hinges on the dedication of leaders and officials in fulfilling their responsibilities.
Mengetuk hati kita, apakah kita lakukan yang sebaiknya? Apakah dengan pangkat, darjat, anugerah, pingat, hadiah, jabatan yang tinggi itu sebenarnya telah kita tunaikan amanah itu dengan sesungguhnya.
He also stressed that excellence isn't merely a slogan or a measure of performance. Rather, it reflects the values and integrity carried by each individual within the administrative system. Every idea and initiative, therefore, must aim to elevate the nation's standing, while also safeguarding the welfare of marginalized and disadvantaged groups. Now, Gabungan Rakyat Sabah, or GRS, will contest 55 out of 73 state assembly seats in the upcoming 17th Sabah state election. GRS Chairman and Sabah Caretaker Chief Minister Datuk Sri Haji Noor said 35% of the candidates are new faces, representing the next generation of state leadership. The names of 51 candidates were announced by Haji at an event in Kota Kinabalu on Wednesday, while the remaining 4 will be announced on Thursday. Aside from Haji, who will be defending his Sulaman seat, the candidates to be fielded include 2 GRS component party presidents, Tan Sri Pandikar Amin of the United Sabah National Organisation, USNO, and Tan Sri Anifah Aman of Parti Cinta Sabah, PCS, who will contest the Pintasan and Bongawan seats respectively.
Calon-calon yang terpilih ini adalah dari kalangan keluarga besar GRS yang bersiap sedia berjuang, berkhidmat dan berbakti kepada rakyat di kawasan masing-masing.
Haji, who is also the Parti Gagasan Rakyat Sabah president, said GRS remains committed to championing the people's aspirations through the Sabah Maju Jaya Development Plan. Since September, 79 out of over 1,000 corruption cases reported to the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission involved police officers and personnel. Inspector General of Police Datuk Sri Muhammad Khalid Ismail has therefore emphasized that issues of integrity within the Royal Malaysia Police, or PDRM, must continue to be addressed with utmost seriousness. Khalid highlighted that 47 out of 1,523 disciplinary investigation papers opened by the Integrity and Standards Compliance Department also involved corruption cases.
Adalah menjadi tanggungjawab kita untuk meneruskan persepsi yang positif dalam kita melaksanakan amanah dan tanggungjawab. Adalah menjadi contoh yang baik, teladan yang perlu diikuti di semua peringkat penyelidikan dan juga di peringkat bawahan.
The top cop said this at the Reject Corruption Recognition Awards, held in conjunction with the 2025 PDRM Integrity Month celebration on Wednesday. Khalid also urged all departments to work together to ensure that the PDRM's anti-corruption strategies are developed in a comprehensive, well-structured and effective manner. Some 2,300 illegal migrants from the Rohingya ethnic group in Myanmar have been detected entering Malaysia via Langkawi waters over the past 5 years. Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the figure underscores the seriousness of the situation and the need for continuous monitoring by security agencies. Saifuddin noted that Langkawi's strategic location near the Thai border makes it a preferred entry point for human trafficking syndicates. He also affirmed the government's commitment to strengthening capabilities, particularly Malaysia's maritime assets, to tackle the issue effectively.
Kerana itu kita tengok dia berjaya untuk mengawal kemasukan yang tinggi ini, ataupun kalau dia buat operasi dan berjaya tangkapan itu tinggi.
The minister said this during a press conference at the Langkawi District Police Headquarters on Wednesday. Commenting on the recent incident in which a boat carrying undocumented migrants capsized near the country's maritime border, he said security forces are treating the matter as a top priority. A total of 177 rescue personnel, supported by both air and sea assets, have been deployed to rescue survivors and recover bodies. A thorough investigation is also underway, including efforts to identify those involved in human trafficking syndicates. Meanwhile, the death toll from the boat tragedy involving undocumented migrants in waters near the Malaysia-Thailand maritime border has risen to 25 after 5 more bodies were recovered on Wednesday. 2 bodies were found in the morning near Pulau Singa Besar and Anak Datai, while another 3 bodies were discovered later in the afternoon off Pulau Rebak Besar and Tanjung Hulur. All 5 victims were adult males. The bodies were brought to the LKIM jetties in Kuala Chenang and Kubang Bada, as well as the Malaysian Maritime Jetty, before being handed over to the police for further action. So far, 14 survivors have been rescued from the tragedy. The 15-kilometer new Pantai Expressway and PE2 extension project, including the ramp at the Bangsar Pantai Dalam interchange, is expected to reduce congestion in the area by up to 40%. Works Minister Datuk Sri Alexander Nantalinggi said the 1.7 billion ringgit project is scheduled for full completion in 2029.
Memang ini tidak ada satu sen pun daripada kerajaan, 1.7 bilion ringgit. Daripada swasta lah, daripada IJM.
The project is part of the Kuala Lumpur Traffic Master Plan 2040, which aims to ease congestion along the Pantai Dalam Bangsar Mahameru corridor. Upon completion, motorists could save up to 25 minutes of travel time between Bangsar or Mid Valley and Subang Jaya. An estimated 200,000 vehicles use the NPE during peak hours. The Budi Madani diesel program has reduced the smuggling and misuse of subsidized fuel. Deputy Finance Minister Lim Hui Ying said monthly sales transactions have declined by more than 300 million litres since the initiative was introduced in June last year, indicating a decline in subsidy leakages.
Ini bermakna sebelum ini terdapat kegiatan pembelian diesel bersubsidi daripada stesen minyak yang mungkin digunakan untuk kegunaan komersial tempatan, iaitu bagi kegunaan mesin dan generator elektrik di tapak pembinaan atau kilang.
Lim said before the targeted subsidies rollout, average monthly sales of subsidized diesel between January and May 2024 stood at around 770 million litres. After the policy took effect, the figure fell about 465 million litres per month between June and December. As a result, the government has saved more than 400 million ringgit per month, amounting to 5 billion ringgit annually. Malaysia's economy is expected to reach the upper end of its official growth target this year, with expansion estimated at around 4.7%. According to a TA Securities, the estimate is close to the top of the official target range of between 4 and 4.8%. For the third quarter, growth is projected between 4.9 to 5.1%, which is slightly lower than the Department of Statistics Malaysia's early estimate of 5.2%. TA Securities also said that year-end growth will be driven by seasonal spending and tourism activities. The research house added that Budget 2026 and the Visit Malaysia Year 2026 campaign will continue to support economic growth next year. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said in the Dewan Rakyat on Tuesday that the country's third quarter gross domestic product growth is expected to reach 5.2%, reflecting Malaysia's strong economic fundamentals. Bank Negara Malaysia's requirement for anyone applying for personal loans exceeding 100,000 ringgit to complete a 15-minute financial education module is regarded as a crucial step in promoting financial literacy. Federation of Malaysian Consumers Association FOMCAF Vice President Dato' Indrani Thuranisigam said the module aims to help applicants understand how interest rates and loan tenures impact the total cost of borrowing.
It also then encourages borrowers to reevaluate about necessity versus affordability before they commit. And the module can also direct consumers to debt management resources like AKPK. So I would say that for first-time borrowers, this very brief, interactive video, online video for 15 minutes can create a pause moment before signing on to a large commitment.
Indrani also suggested that BNM introduce a tiered financial education strategy, offering more in-depth modules for those applying for loans over 250,000 ringgit or with multiple debts. On Tuesday, BNM said the workshop will help applicants assess whether they truly need the loan and understand the consequences of non-repayment, which can lead to bankruptcy. The central bank's revised personal financing policy also bans the flat rate and rule of 78 methods for new loans, requiring lenders to adopt the reducing balance method, in line with recent amendments to the Hire Purchase Act 1967 to enhance transparency and fairness. A budget deal to end the longest government shutdown in U.S. history heads to the House of Representatives for a crucial vote on Wednesday. Now on day 42 of the impasse, lawmakers are returning to Washington to decide on a Senate-approved plan that would fund federal agencies for 2 months. Republican leaders said they are confident it will pass despite their slim majority, but Democrats vowed to oppose it. President Donald Trump has signaled he will sign the bill, saying the government is opening up the country and that it should never have been closed. The shutdown, which began October 1st, has left 1 million federal workers unpaid, halted food assistance and disrupted air travel, with 1,200 flights cancelled Tuesday as unpaid air traffic controllers called in sick. Major raid uncovers counterfeit lubricant factories in Selangor. This and more after this breather.
Michelin innovates through cutting-edge tests, from microscopic compounds to extreme simulated road conditions, so you can trust your tires for longer. Michelin, motion for life.
Arif, kalau kereta laba, awak suka kereta macam mana? Okay. Saya suka kereta klasik.
Saya mestilah Proton Saga, kereta pertama buatan Malaysia.
Arif, lelaki dia suka penabrasan bila ada masalah. Awak jangan macam tu. Sekarang banyak kes kesihatan mental lelaki.
Awak dah kahwin kan? Kalau nak jumpa mak bapak awak, kena minta kebenaran suami ke?
Takkan sampai nak minta.
Kena tahulah hak ibu dan bapa selepas anak berkahwin.
Musim hujan ribut sekarang ni bahaya. Hati-hati bila lalu kawasan yang banyak pokok.
Isnin hingga Jumaat, jam 10 pagi.
Eksklusif ditonton di TV3.
Kita terlalu berbeza.
Kau nampak kan usaha aku untuk kita?
Kau pernah suka kat aku kan? Dan kau pernah tolak aku kan? Ash rasa besar sangat dekat Jad. Ash tak nak kehilangan dia. Tapi hati Ash ni tetap dekat.
Dalam ramai-ramai perempuan, kenapa mesti cucu aku?
Ash, seorang je dalam hati saya.
Kita ni perempuan, Bia. Tak perlu kot kau rendahkan diri kau hanya sebab seorang lelaki.
Rendah tak rendah. Kita tengoklah siapa yang dapat.
Jika itu salahku, Jumaat dan Sabtu 9 malam di Lestari TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Pertama kali aku tergugah.
Buat teman-teman di Malaysia, Rangga dan Cinta kini hadir di Pawagam. Beli tiketnya sekarang.
Back on Nightline. Enforcement authorities raided 6 premises suspected of processing used engine oil and repackaging it into branded containers resembling genuine products. 42 people were arrested, comprising 14 locals and 28 foreigners, all under the age of 45. The operation, conducted by the Selangor Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry, or KPDN Enforcement Division, in collaboration with the State Police Special Branch, followed 2 months of intelligence gathering and surveillance. Selangor KPDN Director Muhammad Zuhairi Mat Rade said preliminary findings showed that the 6 premises were part of an organised network believed to have been operating for at least 6 months.
Premis pertama membuat botol. Premis yang kedua mengilang atau memasukkan minyak ke dalam botol. Premis ketiga sebagai stor penyimpanan. Premis keempat sebagai stor yang menyimpan barang-barang ataupun minyak enjin yang telah siap. Premis kelima, stor simpanan produk alat ganti kenderaan lain, contohnya spark plug. Dan premis keenam adalah pejabat pengurusan.
Based on initial findings, authorities believe the oil was processed from used engine oil and rebottled into genuine-looking packaging before being sold in the local market. All detainees are being investigated under the Trademarks Act, with penalties including fines up to 10,000 ringgit per counterfeit item, imprisonment for up to 3 years, or both if found guilty. The seizure, including the counterfeit engine oil and equipment, is valued at around 1 million ringgit. 2 former bank officers were brought before the Shah Alam Sessions Court on Wednesday for bribery-related charges linked to the provision of housing loans worth over 5.8 million ringgit. Both accused, including a woman who is 7 months pregnant, pleaded not guilty after the charges were read out separately before Judge Awang Karismada Awang Mahmud. 33-year-old Nadia Zakaria was charged with 6 counts of bribery for allegedly receiving 11,444 ringgit in cash from a bank account belonging to a law firm. The payments were purportedly made as inducements for the preparation of loan agreements related to 6 housing loans worth 3.22 million ringgit. The court granted bail of 6,000 ringgit and set April 27th next year for case mention. Another accused, Abdul Rahman Shahruddin, aged 35, faces 7 counts of bribery for allegedly receiving 7,366 ringgit in connection with the preparation of 10 housing loan agreements valued at 2.6 million ringgit. The court granted bail of 5,000 ringgit and fixed January 7th next year for case mention. The alleged offences occurred between 2018 and 2022. In Kelantan, 13 individuals, including a woman and 3 orang asli, were remanded for allegedly participating in an unlawful gathering in front of Istana Negeri in Kubang Kerian. The 4-day remand order starting Wednesday was issued by Magistrate Imran Rais Hamid at the Kota Baru Magistrates Court on Wednesday. According to sources, the group, aged between 26 and 67, had gathered in front of the palace at around 11:40 a.m. on Tuesday. Police checks on several of the suspects led to the discovery of sharp weapons, including keris, spears, parang, swords and bayonets. Other seized items included wooden sticks, bamboo canes, copper teapots and cups, beaded necklaces, coins of various currencies and yellow songket fabric. Police are still probing the motive behind the gathering. Turkish military cargo plane crash kills 20 soldiers. The details when Nightline returns.
Siapa yang betul-betul gegarkan social media anda? Jom kita cari di obrolan paling viral online. Michelin innovates through cutting-edge tests, from microscopic compounds to extreme simulated road conditions, so you can trust your tires for longer. Michelin, motion for life.
Wanita hari ini.
Cinta tidak sepatutnya menyakitkan.
Jangan biarkan hati terus luka dalam cinta toksik.
Gulai tunjang ayam belado daging dendeng pasti sedap kan?
Aneka menu Minang kami kongsikan lama bana.
Betul ke Gen Z tak pandai berdikari?
Sama-sama kita kongsikan.
Susahlah nak cari yang sekufu.
Bukan sekadar sama minat, tetapi teman sejiwa.
Bila cinta tidak lagi berbicara,
mungkin hati sudah letih untuk mendengar.
Semuanya di WCI TV3
dan stream sekarang ditonton.
Wanita hari ini.
Ku hanya
3 tahun lalu menjadi detik pilu buat Fazilah apabila anaknya Nur Aira Shazira, 12 tahun, disahkan menghidap penyakit spina bifida.
Dia punya kekuatan tu dia tak boleh nak tampung berat badan dia. Sebab dia punya kekuatan daripada buku lali dia langsung tak ada. Dia seolah-olah macam tak terima diri dia macam tu. Dia tak nak bergaul dengan orang, bawa diri dia sendiri.
The foreign front. All 20 people aboard a Turkish C-130 military cargo plane that crashed near the Georgia-Azerbaijan border have died, while investigators probe the cause at the crash site. The Turkish National Defense Ministry confirmed this on Wednesday, a day after the plane crashed shortly after taking off from the Azerbaijani city of Ganza. The ministry said Turkish and Georgian investigators had begun inspecting the wreckage at the crash site in Georgia's Kakheti district early Wednesday. Georgia's air traffic control said the plane vanished from radar shortly after entering its airspace without sending a distress signal. Footage showed the aircraft spewing a thick cloud of black smoke after the crash, with debris scattered across the area. In other news, part of a new bridge in China's southwestern province of Sichuan on Tuesday collapsed along a national highway linking the country's heartland with Tibet. The incident occurred after police in Myrkong closed the 758-meter Hongqi bridge on Monday due to cracks and terrain shifts on nearby slopes and roads. Mountainside conditions worsened on Tuesday afternoon, triggering landslides that caused the approach bridge and roadbed to cave in. A viral video showed the bridge toppling into the river, sending a thick cloud of dust around the site. Authorities have closed the affected route and are carrying out further investigations at the scene. So far, no casualties have been reported. Taiwan evacuated thousands on Wednesday as a weakened typhoon Fengwang brought record rainfall to the mountainous east coast, causing floods that rose neck-high in some areas. Around 8,300 people were evacuated to safer zones, mainly in Yilan and nearby Hualien, where a northern monsoon intensified rainfall from the unseasonably late typhoon. Businesses and schools were closed across most of the southern Taiwan as the storm struck, leaving 51 people injured. Over 1,000 homes were flooded in the harbor town of Suao, which recorded 648 millimeters of rain on Tuesday. Fengwang is expected to brush past the island's southern tip later on Wednesday before moving out into the Pacific Ocean. On to sports now. Teenagers Joey Tan, Kunurin Afika Kuruzaini and Ariana Nordiana Zairi have given Malaysian archery a boost ahead of the Thailand SEA Games, clinching bronze at the 2025 Asian Championships in Dhaka, Bangladesh on Tuesday. It was a dream debut for the young trio, who outclassed Uzbekistan 6-0 in the women's team recurve bronze medal playoff, bouncing back strongly after their semi-final loss to powerhouse South Korea. Earlier, Joey, Nurin and Ariana cruised past Vietnam 6-0 in the quarterfinals, before falling 2-6 to the Koreans. To top it off, they also broke the Asian under-21 record during qualification with a combined score of 1,943, surpassing the previous mark of 1,912, capping off a memorable outing for the national team. Turning to badminton, the 2025 Japan Masters. It was a solid outing for Malaysia, with 6 of the 11 national representatives in action on day 2, advancing to the second round of the Super 500 tournament on Wednesday. The main highlights were Korea Masters mixed doubles runners-up, Jimmy Wang and Lai Pei-jing, who continued their fine form, cruising into the last 16 after defeating Taiwan's Liu Chaiming and Hong En-soo 21-19, 21-15. They will next face the 7th seeds Ye Hong-wei and Nicole Gonzalez-Chan, also from Taiwan. Hu Pang-ron and Cheng Su-yin, returning from injury, also impressed with a gritty 21-18, 18-21, 21-19 victory over Taiwan's Wu Xuanyi and Yang Chu-yun. Their next challenge will be against Thailand's top seeds, Dechapol Pavaranukroh and Supisara Pausampran. Meanwhile, women's doubles aces Perlitan and Amtina lived up to expectations, battling past Japan's Mikoto Aiso and Momohanimi 18-21, 21-9, 21-17. The pair, chasing their 3rd World Tour title of the season, will meet Jung Na-eun and Lee Yeon-woo of South Korea for a place in the quarters. This time around. Before we leave, here's a look at the 5th edition of the Forever Is Now International Art Exhibition at Egypt's Giza Pyramids, featuring 10 contemporary installations by artists from around the world. With that, I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for watching, and be well, Malaysia.